Yo, B, let's go.
You may have seen the clip and maybe heard word of mouth, yet another podcast. Man, what could it be about? Is it truth or opinion? A couple of contradictions. We're here to challenge tradition and twist your vision. So we set on a mission to bring you rebel wisdom.
Welcome back to another episode of Rebel Wisdom. I'm Julian here with my boy B. And today we're going to be talking about, it's going to be a money-related episode, as we like to do, but centered around the phrase, eat the rich. I don't know. I feel like it's somewhat common. I've certainly heard it at different times, in different capacities. I think in our current climate of just like this political era we're in or whatever, it's come up a couple times like recently, but I certainly heard it over, the years for sure. And it's one of those ones I wouldn't say like I subscribe to that thinking, but it's never really like affected me. I'm not rich, so I don't like take it personal, or I kind of just one of those phrases you hear, but doesn't really affect me too heavy. Haven't really thought about it too much until I get in conversations with you, and we tend to like dive into some stuff, and it's kind of interesting to think like where does this actually come from? This phrase, "eat the rich." So with that, as we open up, like, be just kind of want to know, like, what I don't know what, and this is a weird question. I acknowledge that, but I'm just gonna ask it. Like, what are your thoughts on not even this phrase necessarily, but the rich? And I mean, just kind of knowing you, and we have some financial conversations. I think I know, but like, when you think of the very vague term like the rich, like, what are your emotions or your thoughts like associated with it?
Yeah, I think the rich is one of the most like ironic group of people like in the world, I think. And because rich has such a bad connotation to it for some reason, right? I
Yeah,
don't you can't deny that, right? Like
yeah. I don't know
people
how.
talk about
Yeah,
the rich is
and that's
like
what I
a
want to
bad
talk
thing,
about.
right?
Yes.
But it's ironic because majority of the people that I know, overwhelming majority, are trying to be rich.
Mhm.
Right? So that's like a little paradox that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Like you don't like them, but you want to be them, right? And from my perspective, I do think like being rich, that's not it's so weird because I think people just look at the face value and not necessarily peel the onion back because a lot of people they say they want money. That's not I'm being super nitpicky, but it's not necessarily the money that's important to them. It's like the freedom that money allows, that gives you an ability to use money in exchange for services, right? Because if you never received a dollar in your life, but you're like, let's say, like a son of a prince, or son of a king, and you're a prince, everything's provided for you. You don't need money. And it's kind of similar to that, I think. Uh, we're trying to be rich. I guess I don't want to say that. Okay. For me, being rich or getting there this is so freaking cliche, but I think it is the journey that's kind of more important because it sounds so corny, I know, but the journey up to be rich, you have to be successful in a lot of the aspects. Like you have to be strategic about your job. You have to like more income helps. You don't need to have high income, but you need to be good at personal finance. You need to be offensive enough to make the right investments. You have to be humble enough. You have to be frugal enough to defend your money from leaving from you. I and you know what I'm getting at? There's so many skill sets that allows you to be rich. And those skill sets, like if you talked about it with people, those are all positive values. So it it is kind of weird, and I get where people are coming from, like the rich are bad, because few of the very ultra wealthy, I think they provide more value to the world personally, but they are in the limelight for a lot of negative stuff, and it gets highlighted often more. So we have this like thinking that the rich equals bad because of the media, how media plays them. So it's basically propaganda, I think. But whereas if you look at the overall, like I think they're like good people, you know.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
that that's my entering thought into this
mm,
conversation.
you gave us so much to talk about so early on. God, and one of those many things that you did mention was how you said people might want to attain the status of being rich, right? But oftentimes it's to get other things. Like you have to be rich because the things they want are expensive or hard to get or what, etc. And I think we did a podcast episode on kind of wealthy, which I don't want to confuse. Like I feel like wealthy is the more encompassing term of like abundance of multiple things in your life, or people just chase the abundance. Like it could be emotions, love, sure, to include money, abundance of time, etc. That could be considered wealth. Whereas in this case, eat the rich is just the abundance of money. Um, but to your point, like you still need money to get certain things, especially once those certain things get to a certain tier or certain like value level, then it's like, okay, you need more money. And it's interesting to think because yeah, money at the end of the day is just a means of exchange. To your other point of someone being born into I mean wealth, riches, whatever, into a family where their needs are met, like they don't value money because they have the things that money would get them. So it's if you really, 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 I'm gonna oversimplify it, like correlate like this piece of paper that is $1 and then correlate to like dollar equals like bad person, like more dollars, more bad person. It's like, no, just because somebody has a lot of this means of exchange doesn't alter their character traits or who they are. Now, don't get me wrong, there are absolutely people that fit what I just said. They get money, money goes to the head. Some may argue money is power. I think we've talked about that in an episode, but let's say you do get this power and that, does start to alter how you kind of move, how you act in a negative way. Sure, that happens. I mean, I'm sure you can make the argument too, somebody loses everything or has less and they could also have bad character. But to say, if in an equation like rich equals bad, I think that's unfair. And I also think that's what is that rooted in? Because I mean, first we'd have to define rich because I'm trying to think like who quote unquote, air quotes rich that I know. And then from that, like, what do I think of that person? Oftentimes when we talk rich, like people are talking about the ultra wealthy, like these top 5% or maybe probably even 1% of people. And it's like
Yeah.
most of us don't know them. And then most of like anything in life, not just this topic of eat the rich, what we're forming our opinions off things that are public, like narratives that are pushed publicly, like in social media or whatever, which we all know that can be skewed in whoever's favor. So it's like, one, like, what are we defining as rich? I think that's the easier part. But two, like, how do you? I feel like on a massive scale, we're judging these people that we like most don't actually know. And then we pick and choose what we choose to know about them. Like something might come out about some social media influencer that's made millions that they did something bad, but like the fact that these other group of millionaires are doing all these charitable events, like maybe that's not as talked about, but it's like, hey, I mean, it's still happening. They still could be good because of that. So, um, and we can get into that later. But what is this narrative really rooted in? And if you don't have any thoughts, I'm actually gonna talk about the history of
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
this statement. So I'm literally the opposite of a historian. My history knowledge is terrible, but I'm going to read something real quick on this phrase, eat the rich, and where it comes from. So apparently, allegedly, the phrase is attributed to Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who I do recall from school was like a philosopher, I think in the Enlightenment age. And so he's attributed to this quote, and he said, "When the people shall have nothing more to eat, they will eat the rich." And I don't know if this was like literal or metaphorical, but I guess he's quoted for saying that. And during the time leading up to the French Revolution, that was a rallying cry against the extreme wealth disparity and aristocratic excess. And in modern times, that I guess has grown to look like, again, looking at this, like looking at the wealth disparity, it's just like the less you have, and like when you really have nothing, then you start attacking the people that do have, in like a literal sense. So I was like, dang, that makes kind of a lot of sense because it's kind of literal. But I just, you never know the roots of it. So it kind of stemmed from way back in like the Enlightenment era, of people quite literally having less. And then that, as they stated, the wealth disparity, it kind of came from that. And I was like, man, the fact that, like I said, it still happened. It still happened. Like we're seeing it today. Fascinating.
Can you repeat that one more time? I thought it was fascinating on what
Yes,
the quote.
absolutely. It said, when the people shall have nothing more to eat, they will eat the rich.
Okay.
Like that, literally in quotations.
I think that's interesting because you said, is it literal or not?
Right.
From looking at the context in history, I do think it's more literal than the application of that phrase today.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right? And it's funny because, it has to when they have nothing to eat, right? It's like, because like, of course, like eating is a human need, right? But if you look at today's world, right, we don't have an issue of lack of food in America. We'll keep this conversation in America, right, to simplify it. But I would argue that we have an issue of abundance of food, right? Like we are one of the most obese countries in the world, right? And so that is, I think it's just funny, right? I understand the context behind it. It's the wealth disparities, but I'm still trying to think like the people in poverty in America are still living better than majority of the people in the world. Majority of the people in the world. We are so privileged to, like, we are lucky, literally, to live in this situation. And people in poverty today live better than, like, I don't know, when was the French Revolution? 1700?
Again, not a historian.
but around, it could be totally off. I probably sounded like a moron. but my point is, people in poverty today lived better than rich people back in the day.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that quote's kind of funny. But I do want to say one thing on the comment that you made earlier. You were talking about how these ultra wealthy people, right? That's the target audience that we're gonna narrow this "eat the rich" quote to, and this can, I guess, apply to all sorts of different levels. But I think having a lot of money doesn't really change you as a person. Me personally, I think it just intensifies who you are as a person.
What? Say that again. Having that money?
I think having a lot of money doesn't change you. It just intensifies who you are.
That's a good stance. Okay.
If you're an asshole, I think when you're rich, you're gonna be a bigger asshole.
I like that
But
take.
if you're like a good, caring guy that happens to have success, I don't think they're gonna be like, that's my belief, right?
Okay.
Because we look at, like, let's look at some notable figures in today's society, right? We can talk about Elon Musk. We can talk about Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. We can talk about Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
But Bill Gates, like, I just listed those 5 people I listed, right? Let's look at Warren Buffett. He will be donating 99.9% of his wealth when he dies to charity.
Yeah, and even that, I think it's an anomaly. Like, he's on the super generous end, but even if he was 50%, like, that's a lot. Yeah.
Bill Gates literally has a foundation for creating curing cancer. And I think his big thing is his Bill and Melinda Foundation.
Yep.
I think one of their
Yep.
big things is giving water to people that can't have clean water. And those are like the very obvious, like extreme ends of generosity. And I mean, like, look at other people. Like, look at Mark Zuckerberg. He's super, 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 super rich. I can't really think of like anything that he's doing wrong. He's in a loving relationship with his wife. At least that's what it looks like.
Yeah, we don't.
He has a family. Like, he's a family man. Like, it's like he doesn't say crazy things on the internet. Like, I just don't like what's there to hate on him,
Yeah.
And Elon Musk, I think Elon Musk is a good one to talk to because he's so controversial.
Yeah, he has more of a social media presence. I don't think he masks. I'm trying to think of myself, right? Like, if you make it to that level, I'm not gonna say you have to, but I feel like there's a tendency, again, this is speculation because I'm not at that level, but to like kind of tiptoe around, like everything you say is gonna be heavily scrutinized. Like, we can say something on this platform and it's like, I mean, who cares what Julian and Barry thinks? Like, cool, just a couple of guys that like to talk to each other and post online. But if Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg say something, people are gonna, oh, what he said? Oh, and like nitpick it. So like I feel like most of them, again, Elon Musk just doesn't care, which I mean, good for him. But yeah, he is more controversial because I think he is so public with a lot of his stances and stuff. And even still though, like, at the end of the day, this man has advanced technology in certain platforms like immensely, and a lot of things that the everyday person cherishes and have. Like, I'm not gonna say we wouldn't have it without him, but him or someone like him, like it takes that level of just determination, ingenuity, money, but like to pour into that industry or whatever to further whatever the industry is. Like, that's he's still whether you like him or not, you can't deny that he was crucial to the advancement of society, which
Yeah, I agree.
is a hell of a thing to say.
If Elon Musk didn't do what he did, let's say he just sold his stake at PayPal and just to lived his rest of his life just comfortably, right? But he didn't. I think by what he did, I believe I'm gonna say 10 years, but I think we can all agree at least 5 years that he advanced the technology for electric vehicles. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
And now he's doing things like SpaceX.
Yeah.
He bought Twitter, where Twitter was becoming a crazy, crazy place with censorship. And censorship is one of the worst things we can have in government, in society. And I don't understand where the hate comes from. I'm genuinely confused.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I have some theories on it.
What's so bad about?
So right, and it's a very good question, and I think some of it is partially a lack of relatability. But whereas some of these people you would look at, and maybe you and I'll speak for us, can maybe like look at these people with some level of aspiration, like we aspire to either make change that they do. I mean, if we make change on a level that they do, to the magnitude they do, that'd be like insane. Again, these are like global, will be historical figures, but just to make change or to just make that much money, like find something that we're passionate enough about, that we believe in, that we can pour into enough for a long enough period of time to like reach that level of success and whatever we want. Like, I feel like we view these people on a more aspirational level, but kind of go back to Jean-Jacques Rousseau's theory, like maybe when people just don't have that, maybe don't have enough or don't have that level, I think instead of having an aspirational look, it's more of an envious or jealousy look. And that kind of over time transforms into hate, or they find ways to spin things in a negative light. So whereas like we look at Elon Musk and like revolutionize electric vehicles, somebody could look at him and like, I think he literally started, I might have to fact check this, I think he literally started a city in Texas, like Stars something or whatever, and it's going to be the base of maybe some SpaceX project, but he's like trying to do some space operations out of this spot in Texas. And this gets even less credible. Like I heard there was like a statue of his head was like erected in the city and stuff.
Really?
And people could look at that and be like, oh, see, he's so self-absorbed and like he just wants to take over territory and he's trying to be political. It's like, I'm just a big fan, and I'm saying all that to say, I'm a big fan of, I don't like negativity bias. Like anything I look at, I try to find the positive in it, and I'm not neglecting there could be negative aspects, but like nobody's perfect. And then half of these people that have this hyper negative outlook on the rich, I'd be curious how they would act if they were on those levels of, like, if they had as much money as these people that they're analyzing and that they're critiquing. Like it, again, because when you're at that level, everything's scrutinized. And again, you name 5 people. These are 5 people that are the absolute ultra wealthy, the top of their craft. Most millionaires or multimillionaires, rich people, are below them. And again, we're only nitpicking these very public, very well-known people. But is it fair to judge all of the rich off of these handful of people? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like in any other case, I feel like we speak out against judging the whole off the few.
Yeah,
Like,
we're like justifying hate against them because they have something. Like they're still people at the end of the day. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. And there's some I'm still thinking like, hey, what do people say so badly about Elon Musk? Because I don't know how he's hated so much, but one of the things I heard, which I've heard multiple times, so it's not like I heard it one time on
Mhm.
TikTok. There is some sort of narrative around this that the rich exploit the poor for working for them. And I was just thinking about that. I was like, last time, at least my company, I don't know. I mean, it could be other companies as well. I'm not sure, but we can quit tomorrow if we want to. Like I don't have a contract that says I have to stay at the company.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And for majority of the people, we're grateful to have a job because the alternate would be no job.
Right.
I wouldn't want, I wouldn't want that.
Right.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, like he makes billions while his workers make blah, blah, blah. Well, you got to realize there's different levels of risk that someone is taking, different levels of success that they have had. And those all contribute to how much they make.
Yes.
I don't know how this is like a mind-blowing idea for them, because if someone takes more risk, like they should be rewarded more if they make it,
If they find success, yeah.
right? Because if you're a W-2 employee, like I'm a W-2 employee, I could show up tomorrow and give minimal dog shit effort at work and still get paid the same. I have
Yeah.
zero risk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Relative
Yeah.
to people that have a small business or just like business people in general that work off risk. So
Yes,
it's
sir.
just, and there is a level of responsibility when you're trying to advance human society through technology. Maybe it's through EV, it's through AI, it's through social media, it's through space exploration, whatever it is. There's someone mindlessly listening to their AirPods, listening to music, doing something over and over repetitively. I don't think it's crazy to say, hey, they should have different pay range. Like they should have a different levels of reward.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't understand how the poor are exploited by the rich. I could see in some cases, but for majority of them, like they created millions of jobs and
Right.
services.
That's what I was
Like,
thinking. Yeah.
uh, so like think of Jeff Bezos, right? I'm not joking I think I get an Amazon package every other day at my house. Like my wife, like we have rentals and stuff, so we have to order some stuff. So it's not all just like personal spending, but like we have something come up, and the logistical advancement Amazon has created, the standard for same day shipping, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, they revolutionized that piece.
And I would imagine like that level of advancement would equal to billions. Like I could see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they
And,
changed things on a like massively. Like it's
and majority of these billionaires are that level.
Mhm.
Like how many times do you open your Instagram app a day?
yeah,
10?
way too much right, way more than that.
Right? Like Mark Zuckerberg is revolutionizing how social media is. Everyone loves social media.
Yeah.
So
Now, a couple things on that. Again, when you look at the like, and I don't know if people just want perfection, like, but people look at social media and they're like, well, they're monetizing people's attention span, and they're creating this platforms allows for anxiety in young children and all these negative side effects of this platform, which I think are being worked on. Well, I mean, I don't know, but I think are being addressed, like I hear it, but at the same time, a fact is it did revolutionize how we maneuver through every day. And that revolutionary change is going to be compensated. Like when you make a change on that scale, and then even some of these things, again, people aren't perfect. Maybe I give people too much benefit of the doubt. I've been told that before, but like Facebook, for instance, I know was made with the intention to literally unite the world. Like that was the intent behind Facebook. I don't think you can get much more better, pure than that. Maybe there's some ulterior motive. I don't think so, but like to unite the world. But then, they introduced the like button, and then people are obsessing over getting these likes. And when people don't get enough likes, they get depressed. Things that are very hard to predict. And that was a byproduct. And then as most companies do, you pivot, you adapt, or whatever. And maybe I think, again, trying to address the question that you said, like, why do people hate the rich? And then all that funnels back to the creator, the CEO, the namesake, the lead guy. It's like, oh, Mark Zuckerberg or whoever, they're not doing enough to make a change. And to your point, that's another part of the reason they get changed a lot, because these software engineers, the people that are developing this, they're not getting publicly shamed for Facebook or whatever, because they're not the face of it. Like you said, that part of that risk is bearing the brunt of everything good and bad that like comes with this company. So I think that's part of where I guess the hate comes from, especially with these ultra wealthy billionaires that you're talking about. They're just such large platforms when the goods are good, but when what's bad, it's like so drastically bad, and that fosters that hate. And I don't know if it's human nature, but I feel like just the bad seems to stick a little bit more than the good. Like when something good happens, it's like, cool, like a week passes, all right. When something bad happens, it's like 2 years later, like, yeah, but you remember when? And it's like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I try not to, my personal philosophy, I try not to judge people on things I can't relate to, or like if I haven't been in that position or don't think I'm capable of yet. It's just, I genuinely try to put myself in people's shoes. And, and again, some of these people I think are maybe bad or have bad motives, but I genuinely think that is the very, very small minority. I don't think that is the case for a lot of these things. And you talked about job creation and all that thing, right? Like kind of going, I mean, I guess it's kind of a different topic, but I also think a misconception with the rich that we're talking about is how they get their money. I feel like there's a sense that people think they get it's inherited, or that they exploit people, because you talked about like exploiting the labor force or maybe the poor to get their money. And I think more of it is through innovation and like actually grinding and finding success, the good old fashioned way of innovating something, creating something, just working, discovering something. But people think it's inheritance and exploitation. And that narrative of like, oh, well, they just got it from their mom, or oh, they just used all these people and got their wealth off the backs of whoever. I think that also, to answer your question, is what drives a lot of this hate. Right. What do you think about that specific piece of like the inheritance and exploitation versus the innovation?
Yeah. So at least for the ultra wealthy, there's just not many people that inherited their wealth. I mean, everyone we listed, they are to an extent, self-made. Even if they inherited $1 million, but to grow that into billions, that's a crazy amount of return. Like you got to give them some credit. It's not like, oh, they just inherited everything.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because let's step down from the ultra rich to
Yeah.
let's talk about like the average rich. Could we talk? I think
Yeah, let's go.
good
Yeah.
line to set is like a millionaire and above.
Okay.
Like that's a pretty right. A lot of people want to be millionaires, right? It's like a
Yes.
status.
Also, there's far more of those as well. So yeah.
Yeah. And this one's super interesting. And Julian, you too, if you haven't looked at it, you should definitely look at it. It's very interesting.
Okay.
There is a study done by Dave Ramsey's company and they interviewed like, I want to say something shy of like 5,000 millionaires or something like that. How they made their money, their occupation, like what they did, a lot of stuff. And it's interesting. Let me get you the actual numbers. All right, here's a couple of them that I want to highlight. 75% of millionaires, their road to success, I guess, their road to the millions was not luck, just consistent investing. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's like any
Yeah.
average Joe can do. And 79% of the millionaires they interviewed were self-made. So
That's not
only
surprising.
20% of them were millionaires because they inherited something.
Yes.
And what's interesting, half of that 20%, by the time they inherited millions, they were already millionaires. So like without the inheritance, they would have been millionaires already. You know what I mean? And this is probably the most interesting one out of everything. Actually, I want to ask you first. Can you give me the top 5 career fields for millionaires based on this interview?
Career fields, because I was gonna say investing is a heavy one, but that's a lot of people's like personal endeavors. Top 5 career fields for millionaires.
I mean, you gotta have like what's in general, what's the
top?
highest? Yeah, I mean, it's
Probably some quirky shit like
no. It's very common. It's like when you think of what kind of jobs make a lot of money, like
I think
you
like
gotta like
lawyers.
I can think of like 10 in my head.
Lawyers, doctors.
Okay, right there.
Those
lawyers,
are the technical ones I was talking about. I was trying to avoid. I didn't think.
That's a career field, right?
Yeah.
So lawyers is one of them.
Yeah.
It's not in a top 5 order.
Sure.
Surprisingly, doctor is not one of them.
Yeah, I didn't think
So top 5 career fields that are listed.
Wait, these are that have the most millionaires?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
But like on average.
Yeah, on average.
Yeah.
Based on this study, is attorneys, so lawyers, that's one. And second is in some sort of management. So people like
I started to say okay.
And third is engineers.
Yeah, that didn't
Fourth
cross my mind.
is CPAs.
Definitely didn't cross my mind.
And really?
Yeah.
Because CPAs are known to be like very steady over 6 figures.
I don't think I knew that really. Yeah.
And then the last one is the most surprising because majority of the people that immediately think rich is doctors, which like I say, it's crazy.
I knew it wasn't doctors though. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's crazy that doctors are not in this list. But the last one is teachers.
There's no way.
And
I would have gotten engineers and lawyers. The rest of those, I wouldn't have got.
Yeah.
Teachers?
So
like professors?
It's interesting because if you think of engineer, CPA, attorneys, and teachers, And I guess to an extent, managers or just management in general, like they are really good at systems and processes,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And to make millionaires, the best and for sure way to be a millionaire is to invest consistently, like I was talking about earlier. And the systems and the processes that you kind of gain from these career fields equate to consistent investing, therefore create millionaires. Does that make
Yes.
sense?
Yeah.
I thought it was like very interesting to see, like,
That
I mean, like
is. Yeah, I would clearly I did terrible on that list, and I didn't even think half of those didn't even cross my mind. Yeah.
teachers. I was surprised the teacher because they're actually like one of the like, I don't say
So I thought
lowest paying career fields, but it's like generally known that teachers aren't high
one of
paid.
the lower paying, like very
Yeah.
popularized ones, like something that a lot of people do. That yeah. I gotta tell
And
my
then
sister that she's a teacher. It's keep hope alive. Heck
yeah.
yeah.
And management just such a broad, generic
Yeah,
term. It's like
yeah.
a
I did
little,
think. Yep,
you
yep,
know,
yep.
so that could be anything.
So I was
So
gonna say like CEO, and then I was like, no. And I was thinking management, but I was like, is that a career? Yeah.
yeah, that I mean, it kind yeah. Well, like once you get into management, you
Mhm.
usually just kind of stay in the management
Mhm.
realm. Um, but yeah, I think at least from like attorney, accountant, or CPA,
CPA.
more in
Yep.
particular, and engineer, that kind of makes sense, right? They were just
Sure.
historically like a high
Hmm.
paying field. But yeah, just like these are the point that ultimately I wanted to get at is these are average people.
Like everyday people. Yep.
They're average
Yep.
everyday people. So
Yep.
it's not necessarily about like they aren't exploiting the working class. You know, like they're actually part of the working class.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
would say,
Yeah.
I would argue they're not being exploited if they're becoming millionaires. You know? Like I'm an engineer and I don't feel exploited by my company.
Yeah,
I
well,
feel
right. Maybe you
very
just had a
well
good company. No,
compensated.
I'm playing devil's advocate. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay,
agree, but
sure, you're right.
it could be. But even still, that's not. I'd argue that's not the like to your point. That's not the majority being exploited. It's very I don't know specific or yeah. It's the minority, which I'm not saying like it's okay if a certain group of people just get like effed over as long as the majority is doing good. Like, sure, we should fight for to make it as fair for the as many people as possible. But again, I kind of think the numbers are like just get skewed when we talk about things like this, like eat the rich and who are the really rich that we're defining? It's like you said, the majority of the rich, we'll say a millionaire and more is there's probably more than you think, and they're probably more quote unquote normal than you think. Like you said, part of the working class. So I think a lot of things just I think this came up in another episode we did. The polarization in today's age, like nothing's ever in the middle. Like you're either far one thing or far the other. Like,
Yeah.
like you either hate it or love it. Like, I don't why do we have to hate everything or the opposite, like gas something up so much? That I'm trying to get to the core of this for Eat the Rich. Like that is what I truly don't understand. There always has to be someone to blame. And I think it's like almost misplaced. And to take it one step further, I know this is another topic I'm sure we're going to get into. A big one on this wealth disparity piece, going back, talking about like taxation, right? Which we were talking about not too long ago. And who pays taxes? Who pays what working class or whatever pays what percent of taxes? And I look at that whole conversation of like, the rich are getting more and more tax cuts or they don't pay enough taxes. And people get mad at them, but and correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe I'm saying something that's uneducated, but I feel like in that case or a case that's similar to that, like if you were to get mad, like it's the system. It's one. I think that whole concept I think is also inflated. Like I think the again quote unquote rich pay more than we think, but that aside, I think like the rich get attacked, and all they did, they made money and they're living life as a person with money. They're not controlling the taxation system. Like, don't get mad at them, even if you are, whether you're right or wrong. Like, if you're mad, like, you know what I'm saying? Again, it's just misplaced. Like, if you were rich or if you're in that tax bracket, you would also be paying what they're paying. Like, it's not, what are you going to walk and be like, no, I think I'm going to give more taxes. Like, what? It's not their fault. So again, that's again a fundamental thing that I just think could be applied to anything. It just so happens we're talking about eat the rich. It's like, why are you mad at rich people?
That
they're not.
That's a
Am I off? I might be off. I don't know.
No, I don't think you're. Dude, I want to get into taxes stuff. There's so much talking about the taxes stuff. Like, well, yeah, like you said, I think there is a overwhelming this idea that rich don't pay their fair share.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
So, I mean, so fair, it's like what is it, the equitable,
equal,
fair,
yeah.
all that, right? So, depending on that definition, it could mean something else. But there's a picture that I sent you a couple days ago, maybe like it was a week ago or something, and it's interesting because the top 50% of earners in the United States. Top 50%. So that includes the millionaires, that includes the ultra wealthy. They pay, and this is according to 2023 data, I think.
I think it was 2021.
2021. Okay.
Yeah.
2021. So they pay top 50%, 97.7% of all income taxes.
Insane.
So
honestly,
that is insane. It's a lot more than I thought. And it's very interesting that people that talk about the rich that they don't pay their taxes, I guarantee they are a net receiver of taxes, meaning they don't pay taxes. Does that make that? Because if you don't make over a certain amount, you actually get money back more than what you paid. So that's like, it doesn't, like, they're just living off the government pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. And there's another. Okay. I want to cover what you said before I go into the next one. You were talking about like if you were in that position, like, of course you'll be paying the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And my honest opinion, I do think the tax system is rigged for the rich. I do think that. But I agree with your point. If you're in that position, are you going to willingly pay more taxes?
I'll tell you right now, I ain't. I'll tell you that right now.
Who in the right mind would be like, oh, I made some money, I'm successful, like, please take my money? Like,
It's not happening.
It's not about being fair. It's not about being generous. It's just dumb. It's just stupid. Because if you really care, like, you can just donate, right? And we know that Democrat, Republican, whoever, government spending is one of the most inefficient things on earth, right? So why would you give money to that? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't benefit by giving so much taxes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see where you're coming. Yeah.
So because there's these, like, all these tax laws that the rich get to participate in it more,
Yeah.
they just partake in those opportunities. It's like saying, like, let's flip that on the total opposite side, on like poverty side, right? Like Section 8 and food stamps. If you're not making money and they're like, hey, here's this a 5-bedroom house for your kid, for your family, and you only have to pay $100. Are they going to be like, no, that's not fair. Everyone else pays rent. I should be paying $3,000 instead of $100. Please show me one person that did that. Right?
That's a good counter. Yeah.
Food stamps on the EBT cards. Who is the person that rejects money? They call your local government, like, hey, here's my social security number, here's my full name, here's my date of birth. Please stop giving me EBT money. Please, I wanna see the person. And I get these are programs that we have like signed into law, right? So just take advantage of those things.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
poor, rich, middle class, everyone's doing the same thing. It's just different forms of taking advantage of it, right? And so that's one thing.
Dude, I never heard
Like-
you lay that out well. That paints a good picture for this conversation.
Yeah, thank you. I just freestyled that one.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's good.
But then and like another thing is like so this is a part that like I could see a lot of arguments between, and because you think differently, a lot differently than I do, I want to hear your opinion. Who is more valuable as a taxpayer, right? Person that pays 50% on 100K income. So let's say they make 100K, they're taxed at 50%. So they pay 50.
Okay.
Or person that makes $100 million, but they are only taxed to 1%. So they pay $1 million in taxes.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Is that like what do you think about that? Is that
Well, what's the quote? Like, do I think
is that fair? Or like what do you we'll say, is that fair?
Yeah, I don't think it's I don't know the phrase to it's not proportionate maybe. Yeah, like somebody could be like, "Oh, it's like 50% across the board." Like, no, I don't think it should be that, because 50% to one person, 50% is 50%, right? But like one person's 50% could be way different than somebody else's 50%. Like if you have $100 to your name, 50%, like $50, like you have, I mean, that's a bad example because nobody can survive off 100 or $50, but it'll paint the picture, right? You only have 50, but like you said, if you have 100 million, 50% of that, like 500 million, like that's probably take way longer to get, and it's just, sure, you can survive off of what you didn't get taxed on, but it's not, it's proportionate, but it doesn't make, how do I articulate this? I don't think it should be, that's what I'm trying to say, is I don't think it should be the same for everybody. Like it needs to be on some type of scale.
Okay.
Yeah, like I don't think it should just be like what person A gets taxed is the same percentage of person B gets taxed, the same percentage of person C. I don't.
Okay, so in a percentage basis, as you make more money, should it be taxed more or consistent or less? What do you think?
On a percentage basis,
Yeah.
I've never thought about this like this, but I see where this is going. Yeah, I mean, maybe less. Like you're getting more money from them because you're taxing a larger amount.
Yeah.
But
I'm
right,
on,
like you said, on a fair, like it's not, they're not getting taxed as much on a percentage basis. But yeah, I could.
because people could argue like if you have, let's say you have a flat tax, right? You could say like in forms of government, I would like to think like everyone's equal. Like rich isn't better than the poor isn't better than the rich. Everyone's equal, right? So I could see an argument being made if there's a flat tax, which I'm fan of a flat tax. Everyone gets taxed 10 to 15% or something like that, and that's it. Like not the system that we have today, but that's regardless of the point. In a flat tax, the rich pay more, much more money, right?
Oh yeah.
So you could say that's unfair for the same services that you're getting from the government. Why do I have to pay $1 million and someone else pays $100? And then you receive the same benefits. Like that doesn't make sense, right?
The counter is going to be because you make more, but then again, like that's not like you earned. You did more to get more. Yeah, exactly.
It's like you do something just to get punished.
Yeah.
Like if you get the people that get hundreds on a math test, like do they need to be on cleaning duty in school forever? Like it just doesn't. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. Right? Like if you're the star quarterback because you practice so hard, does it require that you have to run laps on the field every single day for being punished for being good?
Yeah. Now you got me thinking, this is something I never really thought about. And I don't, this could be very controversial. I don't know if this is the same in the form of government, but like typically in society, right? You said sports, job, like your career progression, etc. Like if you do better, you get rewarded. Now this would be predicated on what society values. So society values, let's just say productivity to society, how measured through, I don't know, income or however society values, let's say monetarily. But if somebody is doing, again, quote unquote better just because they amass more net worth and they, you know, on a percentage base get taxed less, but they're giving back more. I mean, even if they were taxed less, I guess, like, was that, I don't know, is that like a reward? And if that is a reward, is that an unjust reward? I feel like you would need like a legal person to really, determine if it's just and if it's legal. But I'm just trying to speak on a broad term here. But most of the time when people do good or like better than the average, like they get rewarded. And again, this is just free, like a thought I just had. I don't know. It's kind of an undeveloped thought. But you know what I mean? Like, I mean, even if somebody did more than me, therefore they make more than me and can contribute more to society than me, so they, on a percentage basis, like they get taxed less.
Yeah, so it could go both ways, but at least
Yeah,
in today's tax system that we've at least
yeah,
probably operated for the last 100 years, like the more money you make, the more like you get taxed more.
yeah.
And when you like, at least when you think about like, hey, is this right or wrong? I'm not saying like morally, but like, is this the
Yeah,
right thing to do or the wrong
yeah,
thing to do? I think it's easiest to just start with the extreme scenarios, right? So let's say extreme scenario, the tax system is written where after the first, I don't know, let's say 200K or something, right? The number doesn't really matter. It could be 200, 500, a million, doesn't matter, right? But after a certain threshold, you get taxed 0%. That's the low extreme, or 100%. That's the high extreme, right? And you kind of think about it. If I knew that I got taxed less or 0% after 200, like I would be more incentivized to work,
what? Heck yeah.
right? But let's play the opposite scenario. What if they said, we'll lower the bar, let's just say, right? After your first 50K, 100% of your money is going to be taxed. Once you hit 50K, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not going to work.
you're not gonna want to hit. I'm about to say you're not gonna want to go over 50K because
Like, how detrimental to society and economy would that be? Right? So we know 0% creates like I don't think 0% is the right answer either.
right. You're just speaking
But
in
but let's
extremes.
say
Yeah.
100% I know for a fact is not the right answer. So somewhere between the line there is a
Yeah.
sweet spot,
Yeah.
right? And the higher it is, the less incentivized people are to uh, advance technology, to create value, to put in hard work,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's why, like, when people are like, "Oh, tax the rich" and stuff, soon as like we have companies and rich people that invest a lot, that gives a lot, leave the United States because we tax them like crazy amount, it's not gonna be good. You know what I mean?
No, I
Like,
follow your thinking. Yeah, this is.
I don't remember the exact country, but one of the countries in like the Scandinavian regions, I want to say it's Sweden. I want to say, I could be wrong, but that is like one of the countries that like offers free universities to
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Like
think they did it in the
they
UK or
tax the
something.
rich
Yeah.
like crazy, right? But think about it from a bigger picture. Who's like crazy rich people that you can name off top of your head? Like, give me 10 ultra rich Swedish people,
Yeah,
Swedish
zero.
companies.
I don't know.
I can't. I mean, some people might be able to name some, right? But like the ultra rich that we talk about, a lot of them are in the United States. We're not the biggest country. we don't have the most population, but it's like our ideology of like, if you work, if you're successful, you get rewarded, right? And then it's not, I don't want to say like these ultra rich people, they were after the money. Or, I mean, like at some
I
point they
mean,
might be, I
they
don't,
are,
maybe.
yeah. I mean, yeah. They
But
probably
then
are to
like,
some extent.
yeah, to the extent, yeah. But I don't want to say it's just the money, right? Like if it's just the money, I don't think Elon Musk would be like doing some of the
Still
things that he's
doing
doing.
stuff. Yeah, he has billions, right?
So it's just like, you can say like, eat the rich, tax them like crazy, blah, 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 all this stuff. But it's always short-term thinking. You never play out, okay, what if this happens? Okay. And like another example that we see recently, today, in the last 5 years, do you know the 2 most states that have people leaving and 2 most states that people have migrated
Migrated
to?
to? No, I don't. Educate me.
Can you take a guess on 2 states that people left?
Leaving. I'm gonna say California, and I'm gonna say New York.
You bingo, you hit
Yeah.
them, right? So it's interesting. New York, California, very democratic, right?
Yeah. Highest cost of living. That's what.
And Democrats like to tax more, right?
Interesting.
Which 2 states had the most positive
Ooh,
migration?
now this one I would be much harder for me. I'm gonna say Ohio, just because
It's not Ohio.
it's not. It's probably not. It's gonna bias. Texas.
Yes, Texas is one of them.
I don't know why in my head I'm leaning towards Florida, but I feel like that I'm sketchy on that. But
It is Florida.
it's Florida. Okay, Florida. Okay.
Do you know what Texas and Florida has in common? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in common, I guess.
Yeah. Since you brought up Democrat, I'm gonna say Republican.
They are Republican, but that's not the most. I think it influences what I'm trying to get
What
to,
you're
but
trying
it's
to,
not the reason. Exact. Like it's not the reason.
Right. What is it?
They have both 0% state income tax.
I know Florida. Yeah, I didn't know Texas. I did know Florida had that. Yes.
So
Wow.
and along with lower tax states and higher tax states, these trends are very similar. Like Illinois and New Jersey, I think they were like number 3 and number 4 for most people leaving. And you have like Arizona, was it Idaho? But those people, like lower tax states that people are moving to, right?
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean,
so let's expand that from like the local government level to much bigger scale level countries, right? And that's the point that I'm trying to get to. The higher, if you keep taxing people like crazy, people are gonna leave, and
well said, sir.
Economy is just gonna get worse as a byproduct. And then if the economy gets bad, it's not just the rich that get hurt. It's everyone that get hurts.
Yeah.
Right. So I understand like the hate for the rich. I get their point of view, but if you expand it, you're gonna be better off letting rich be rich and stay in the United States, if that makes sense.
Yes. Once again, that was well depicted.
Thank you.
I like that. You're killing it. I just had a thought. Well, I guess it's kind of on the, hearing all that, it goes back to me and this thought. I just have this recurring thought in my head that this is just all misplaced because, again, what rich person has affected you personally? Or sure, you could be like, I work for a company, you work for Amazon, maybe, I don't know, maybe a company has a subpar benefits package, or you think, I think you said earlier, people say like, oh, the CEO makes this much, but the workers only make this, and maybe they could want more fair, quote unquote, pay. I don't know. But again, I just feel like a lot of these rich people that we're talking about, the ultra rich or just the everyday millionaire, has not affected the people that aren't in that category on any sort of day-to-day basis, month-to-month, year-to-year. It's the systems that you don't like, but somehow this dislike or hatred towards the system, which, I mean, I guess the only really power you have over that is voting, but is now placed onto these individuals that can benefit from the system because they, in most cases, worked their way up to that status. They were innovators, creators, design, they're just dedicated, worked hard, whatever they did to get there. And now, because of this status, they just kind of get crapped on. It's like, that's fundamentally, I think, what I don't agree with. And then, again, to further this conversation, things that could apply to that group of people, things that apply to that group of people that could apply to anybody, again, gets more heavily scrutinized. Like, people be like, oh, well, when they get rich, they have all these, there's these scandals or like corruption, whatever that goes on. Dude, there's scandals and corruption and crime at the impoverished level, the middle class level, so it's like, does that have anything to do with the amount of money? Now, we did an episode on more money, more problems, where I proposed that more money, different problems. Maybe like those corruptions or those scandals look different or happen on proportional amounts to like the money they're dealing with. But like, because they're rich is not why the scandal, the crime, the whatever's happening. It might be like what kind they're doing. Like, they might have more access to more resources and stuff. So like the crime might look different, but crime is going to happen on all levels of social economic classes. So it's like, again, I strongly disagree with money equals evil. I strongly disagree with money equals corruption. I'm just very anti those narratives.
People have this idea, and this is literally onto the point that you were talking about. You said, let's say this millionaire gains another $1 million, right? You said it doesn't affect us, which
Yeah.
I agree with you. But people do think economy is like a zero-sum game.
Zero sum, like that. Yeah, I knew it, but
which there's two points I want to like get on that. Where let's say it is a zero-sum game, and let's just say, right, it's not, but let's say it is. The Federal Reserve prints billions and billions
yeah,
and billions each day, week, month, year. So there's ever a more amount of plentiful amount of money circulating into the system.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's zero-sum game, like everyone should be getting more, right? But to the second point, let's say, imagine this scenario, right? Let's say you're here, I'm here, my wife is here, and your girlfriend is here, right?
Mm-hmm.
4 people in this scenario. Let's say we all have $100,000 in cash with our hand, and we're sitting across the table, right?
Okay.
Which scenario would you feel more rich in? Okay, and then keep in mind, I am not introducing any more additional money.
Okay.
Scenario A, everyone sits at their desk with their 100K and the money never moves.
Yep.
Okay, that's scenario 1. Second scenario is the $100,000 exchanges money each single day. Every single day, it exchanges hands. So you give me 100K for goods and services. Maybe you bought a $100,000 car, but you're a business owner, and I needed my house to be fixed.
Yeah.
The plumbing thing, I give you $100,000. Someone got my wife helped your girlfriend start a water business, and my wife got her $100,000, right, as like an investment. So now she has $200,000, but your girlfriend, she's a real she builds houses, and we want a house, so we buy $200,000. Note that in both scenarios, the total amount of money supply did not increase. It's just the flow of money increased. Which one do you feel more rich in?
Yeah, I would definitely be scenario 2.
Scenario 2, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about how much like it's not about if they get rich, we get poor. It's not like that. It's economy thrives or doesn't thrive based on it's not just this, but
Yeah, it's a big factor. Yeah.
big factor on how fast the money flows between people.
Heck yeah.
So it's just a lot of people have a misconception of that, and I do think it just they're just not educated on the fact. They just haven't really looked at it. Maybe they don't really care, but because logically thinking, I could see where they're coming from. They would think it's a zero sum game because 1-on-1 it is it's a very close zero sum game. I give you $20, you gain 20, I lose 20. Zero sum, right? So I get that. But when you think about economies, it operates differently than just me and you exchanging money.
You're killing it with the examples today. I like that. Yeah, I don't even if and honestly, dude, I'm not even gonna save everybody. I think most people know it doesn't operate like that. Like, I find it hard to believe unless you're in like middle school. You're like, there's some millionaire out there sucking all of the money out of circulation, and there's gonna be none left over for me. Like, I don't even think people think like that. It will almost make more sense.
Then why do
If they
people get
did-
mad if
dude,
someone else gets rich?
I don't.
It doesn't
It's
affect
that
them.
cycle. I don't, dude. It's just. Honestly, I think it's a very human factor where it's just, it literally hate, and it's truest form. Like, people are, oh, you're a hater. Like, literally, they're just, this is Julian's opinion. It's just mad it's not them. Like, because, yeah, no matter if they make $1 or $1 million, your potential to earn is still the same. It's unchanged by that. To the example, you get like just the conceptualizing the movement of money. I think that was pretty good too. It's kind of just an enlightening concept to break it down into a sense like that, where you can kind of almost feel like how money moves. I mean, how it makes you feel, and it certainly helps. Helps the economy. Yeah. So I think we attacked this phrase of eat the rich from a lot of different angles, and you kind of just brought up like a mental aspect that I think a lot of people don't think about, and another, I don't know, maybe psychological element of this is just, again, I'm all about like positivity bias, and I feel like I'm very glass half full. But another thing, if we just look at the rich, right? Again, using a very, very blank term, and I get like, look at them, this evil entity, these villains, if you will. Like, what does that do? I feel like that stifles ambition to want to just ascend to higher financial heights. Like, if for nothing else, keep holding that narrative and that thought process is going to deter whether you or you kind of like talking this way around other people. It's gonna incentivize people not to make more money. And I've heard people talking podcasts and stuff. They're like, "Oh, when I was growing up, like I was almost like scared to make money, or didn't feel the need to ascend to these financial heights because I didn't want to be viewed as insert whatever negative bad quote." And it's like, dang, that kind of sucks. They're literally like psychologically preventing people from, you could be preventing creativity, preventing innovation. Who knows what, you know what I mean? Like, just in a blanket sense, why would you not want people to just do better? Like, would you tell if it was your kid, would you not want them? Like, how would it be if I mean, neither of us have kids, but I'm just thinking, if I was like, hey, you can do anything you want, you can make as much money as you put your mind to one day, but then also to be like, man, the rich make it hard for all of us. Like, the rich need to be taxed more, i.e., like, we need to take more of the rich money. Man, all the rich people I know are just these bad people. I don't ever see anything good. Like, I just, do you think your kid is gonna, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's mixed messages. And then again, on top of all of this, how has these rich people affected you, the individual, on a day-to-day? I mean, it probably hasn't. They probably haven't. So
I would
yeah,
argue
man,
it has benefited your life.
if anything, yeah, like literally job
Amazon,
creation, new
Instagram,
yeah.
I'm on Reddit every day. I'm on like banking. I think like like we talked about how we don't use
Yeah.
dollars anymore or like
Yep.
paper bills anymore.
Yep.
Like transfer money so easy. Like video games, entertainment. Like
Yeah.
all these people that provided these stuff made money.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you said like it's confusing to you, very kind of confusing topic, but it's kind of cool. Again, taking it back to the roots, like where it stems from, about literally people having less things, and so eating the rich, and then how that's transpired until today's 2025 age. We very much still see a lot of the same sentiment. Fascinating. I don't know. That's all I can say.
I do want to say one thing that's kind of scary that I was kind of thinking about, right?
Okay.
So I do want to say extremes are not good. Like extreme levels of wealth disparity, I agree that usually leads to nations falling. We have seen that in history, right? But
But wait, elaborate on that real quick. You said extreme. Is that extreme levels of what was the word you used? What'd you say?
wealth disparity.
Oh, so you're saying like the wealth gap gets bigger?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I thought you were
That's
saying something
not
else.
good.
Yes,
I agree with you. We've
I agree
seen
too. Yes.
countless times where nations fall because of
Yes.
that in history, right?
Yep.
But let's take the other extreme, which is the zero wealth disparity. Like everyone makes the exact same amount of money regardless of what you do. Do you know what's this called?
What?
It's socialism / like
Oh, yeah.
communism. And we know that we
We
don't, that's not
know.
good. We know that's not good. So, and it's, that would
It's
be
a
like even crazy. Like literally, a doctor would be making the same amount. I was like, I don't know what's the easy, there was like, I seen like
McDonald's employee.
Amazon and McDonald's, yeah, like
Yeah.
Amazon worker that like flips packages in like the right
Yeah.
way. That's crazy, right? So
And just think about what you have to have some way to incentivize certain things, because then would only predict we're going to have a shortage of all these highly skilled, highly technical jobs that we need, that people are like, yeah, I kind of want to do that and I'm kind of good at it, but like it takes way more schooling, way more time, when I can just be at this professional lawn cutting company and just cut grasses and make the same. Like, why would you not? And we also kind of talked about that in the universal basic income episode, where it kind of also like stifles the people wanting to work and try different jobs and create and do things like that, with everybody, getting similar salaries or whatever. So, dude, that's why I love these conversations so much, because they're common topics, but I think we have the ability to just create an opportunity to look at them from different angles that I really think bring some valuable stuff to light. So, dude, I appreciate you. You gave some bomb examples today, that helped me think kind of a little bit and visualize. Very visual person, so that there's the take on eating the rich. Hopefully, we gave some people to think about, some things to think about, and yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a crazy concept to me, and we are very much against it. Hence, us being rebels to this topic. But yeah, if you have any counterpoints or just anything to add, feel free to hit us in the comments and let us know what you think. Till next time, that's all we got.